8:40. Charles D'Angelo is a friend of the show and our weight loss coach. Good morning, Charles D'Angelo, and Happy New Year.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Getting everyone ready to start with their New Year's resolution.
Absolutely. Everyone has it. It's wanting to lose weight. You brought in a friend of yours. Tell us who you brought in.
This is Deb Ross, who has lost 135 pounds as her New Year's resolution of 2012. She set out to embark on a journey to really recondition her habits and take control of her life, really. So she can tell you more about her whole story.
Debbie Ross, 135 pounds?
Yes.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you very much.
That's just amazing.
It is amazing. It took me a long time to realize that it was. And when I lost 100 pounds, then I really felt like I accomplished something.
So 90 pounds, you didn't think you accomplished anything?
I did from people. I wanted to hit that 100-pound mark.
Right.
Because I weighed 280 pounds when I started.
Right.
And she's not a very tall woman. How tall are you?
About
Right.
5'3.5".
5'3.5". Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 57.
57 years young. How did you find Charles D'Angelo?
I seen him on TV on Channel 5 News at noon on Thanksgiving Day. He had a lady on there, and she had lost 65 pounds, and she was 65 years old. And everything he had on the table that day, I'm like, I eat all that food. I just don't eat it right.
And consistently enough. So many people eat the right things some of the time, but we're not a product of what we do some of the time. We're a product of what we do consistently. So
Right.
The secret is really becoming consistent in your habits and making the decisions ahead of time so that you don't have to be faced with the temptation when you go out with your friends or when you're at work. And so many of the people at her workplace are people that don't have the best health habits, and she found herself in the spiral of trying to do something for a while but
Right.
getting caught up in decision making day in day out.
So many people try and feed you. Okay, here, have a donut. Oh, here, have this.
It's just one donut,
Right.
right? Or if just one drink.
Right.
So many people get caught up in that.
I actually, some coworkers, even when I started the program, they would bring in donuts and they go, "Oh, you can have one." And then it was my birthday. "Well, you can have ice cream today." I'm like, "No, I can't."
Yeah.
"Oh, yes, you can." I said, "No, I can't." And every holiday, I made it through every holiday without any holiday foods at all.
How, Debbie, a lot of people listen to Charles, have seen him on TV, have heard him here on the show, and they want to know the secret. What's the secret, Deb?
The secret is you have to have. He put my mind in the right place.
It's all about the mindset.
I've been heavy for 38 years. And I started gaining weight after my first husband was killed in a bad car accident.
Very young, too, wasn't he?
I was 23.
Okay.
It happened in 1979. And I just continuously gained weight from there out. And then about 3 years ago, my second husband lost his job, and I just spiraled out of control and gained another 30 pounds. And then I went to events and stuff. I couldn't even fit in seats. People would punch me on the airplane because I was in their seat, and I was done. And then I couldn't make my bed in November, and I knew that was it.
Okay, so you called Team Charles.
Yes.
And what did he do?
I actually sent him a letter.
Okay.
She wrote me a long letter
And-
explaining why she wanted to start and that her father had had 9 heart attacks.
Yes.
Her sister had had several heart attacks, and she was really fearing for her life. And so many people don't realize the gift of health they have until someone close to them passes away or until their own health is compromised. So she was wanting to get ahead of that curve and really make the decision to change before she had to.
All right, Debbie. So you called Team Charles. He brought you in, and then what happens?
Well, I went to his office, and of course, doing normally what I would do is, I'm going to stop at Ted Drew's when I leave his office.
That is right down the street.
Right, literally down the street.
Yes.
I can look
Yeah.
out my window and make sure none of my clients are in the lines down
You
there.
can't have 10 Drews only
No.
at certain times.
I left there crying, literally crying. And no, I didn't go to Ted Drew's. And that day forward, I knew that I was going to do something for myself. I made all the conflict in my life just drama. I forget it. 2013 was about Debbie and nobody else.
Because, and good for you. And you said
Not
you
awesome.
have not cheated once.
Not once.
Not one time.
I belong to Red Hat Society, and we go out for dinner, and I take my chicken broccoli with me. And I have no problems with restaurants. I always buy a diet soda when I'm there so I can pay Patreon to the restaurant. But I actually, the day I started, I had Red Hat's potluck at my house, and I didn't
She
even
ate
have
on
it that
program.
day. Yes.
And so many people use food, like Deb was describing, to change how they feel, almost like a drug addict uses a drug. So what I ask people to think about is, what would you do if you could control your emotions with something healthful and actually knowing you could get the certainty you're looking for? Because so many people deny something that's bothering them or try to distract themselves using food. What if you could get that same amount of certainty using healthy food and exercise, knowing you have total control of your health, knowing every week you're going to look better, every week you're going to have more energy, every week you're going to see and feel physical changes and hear the affirmation of what you're doing. There's been people that literally have not recognized Debbie without hearing her voice when they've seen her because of the 135-pound weight loss, not to mention all the health benefits that now she is experiencing.
Debbie, how did you handle the exercise in the Charles program?
When I first started, I had to walk 30 minutes on the treadmill. I walked 10 and I cried for an hour. I walked another 10 and cried for another hour. Argued with my husband. I can't do this. It wasn't the food that was the problem. It was trying to get the exercise in.
The momentum.
Today, I walk 10 miles a day. I walk every break and my whole lunch hours. And on Tuesday, I do NIA. And when I started NIA, I had to crawl to a chair or a couch to pick myself up off the floor.
Tell people what NIA is.
NIA is 7 different kinds of exercise in one. It's not hard on your knees or on your body. And I never did really a lot of exercise in my entire life, but I'll tell you, I love NIA. It just makes you feel so happy when you leave. But I would crawl to a chair or a couch to get myself up. I can plank today. That was the best thing.
Wow, planks are not easy.
All right, now hold on a second. Refuel nights.
Yeah.
I go out. The restaurant I go to, they know me.
Okay.
They've seen my transformation. I go to Longhorn in Fairview
Longhorn
Heights.
Steakhouse.
Okay.
And I have a steak, a sweet potato, teaspoon of butter, a whole wheat roll, and a salad.
Listen to that.
Okay, now the emotional eating, because you've suffered tragedy and you've had some really tough times. So I think both McGraw and I will say that we're emotional eaters.
Right.
How do you handle that?
Like I said, I wiped a lot of drama off my plate, and I don't have a lot of emotional eating. I mean, times
I'm talking
in my
good
life,
and bad stuff.
I literally, I've been through every holiday and sat down at the table with my family, and they ate and I talked.
And you know what? You survived, and you enjoyed it.
Oh, it doesn't bother me a bit. Christmas, they ate dinner, 6 o'clock. I had my chicken and broccoli already with me. All I have to do is preheat it.
I always tell people that you don't really ever break an addiction. You replace it with one that's far more healthy and effective. So people that are using food, as I said earlier, like a drug, you need to find a healthier habit or a healthy addictive habit that's going to go ahead and keep you feeling good, preserving the intention of why you're eating. You got to ask yourself, why are you reaching for food when you're not hungry? And again, if you get to the core,
So true.
if you get to the core issue of, maybe you don't feel that you're living a life that's fulfilled. Maybe you're in a relationship that's not as satisfying as you want it to be. And once you get to that core and you realize that the food's not going to change that situation, but rather only your choices will,
So true.
then it allows you to totally shed all of that weight. And that's what I think that Deb was really holding on to, is 135 pounds of insulation from the feelings that she didn't want to experience. I mean, she had so much pain, and once she rewrote her story and came up with a new script and said, I'm not going to allow my history to define my future,
Right.
and she took control of her choices, her whole life changed. And so many people can do that if they'll make that decision.
Debbie, what do I have here in the studio?
Oh, my favorite nuts. I buy them by the 2-pound bags. There's 20 in my purse right now.
And what I really want to get across is how easy it is, McGraw. I mean, if you can talk from experience, working with me, is this isn't some major dramatic change. The big changes happen from the small decisions you make on an hourly basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And Deb really hit on it. I didn't have her go into the stair mill for an hour, at an intensive rate where she was going to feel like she was going to cough up blood. I had her start with just walking, just 30 minutes on the treadmill, and eating more often and more food than she was eating before she came to see me. Isn't that true, Deb?
That is very true. In fact, I have an alarm on my phone. It's set every 3 hours.
It was more difficult for her to eat the amount of food.
Yes, because when I had to eat a foot-long Subway, I'm like, really?
So many people think they're going to deprive themselves when they work with me, and you're not depriving yourself. You're just making a decision to make a strategic plan instead of a spontaneous one.
Debbie Ross, congratulations.
She's a star
Thank
pupil.
you.
135 pounds.
135 pounds. Congrats. You're an inspiration to many, many people out
Thank you.
there.
Can I also say thank you to all my supporters, because I have a whole group of supporters. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. And somebody up above.
You got it.
That's right. God has a huge role in this.
Charles D'Angelo, website and phone number.
The website is Charles D'Angelo, CharlesDangelo.com, and the phone number call is 314-495-3228. CharlesD'Angelo.com.
Charles D'Angelo and Debbie Ross, 135 pounds,
At
1 year
57
ago.
years old. 57
Congratulations.
years old.
Great story.
Thank
At 8:50, let's check roads. Tim Weiland, you in the KTRS